two families moving onto the same land sounds simple, right up until someone has to explain who pays for the shared water line, or why one side can hear every conversation on the other. Sharing a property with people you love doesn't have to mean losing your privacy, your comfort, or your say over your own daily life. And it doesn't have to mean building two full, separate houses to avoid that outcome either. With the right layout, one carefully planned barndominium compound can hold two distinct living spaces while sharing the pieces of construction that would otherwise be built twice. But there's a catch most families discover too late to fix cheaply. The line between a smart two-family design and an expensive regret usually gets drawn before a single shovel touches the ground. A shared driveway can save real money. A shared mechanical system can simplify the build. But put the kitchens, bedrooms, front doors, or outdoor spaces in the wrong place, and those savings quietly turn into daily friction both families live with for years. One decision, more than any other, determines whether a $150,000 plus budget produces two homes that actually feel like homes, or one oversized house that two families have to share. That's the decision worth understanding first. For a lot of families, the pull toward this setup isn't really about money at first. It's wanted to be close enough to help, close enough for grandparents to hear grandchildren playing outside, close enough for grown children to check in without a 2-hour drive. Then the cost of two separate houses comes up, and proximity starts looking like the practical answer too. Parents want to stay near their kids without moving into their spare room. Adult siblings want to split the cost of land without splitting their patience living in each other's pockets. Some families are tired of watching two mortgages eat two incomes when one divided property could do the job of both. But wanting it and designing it well are two different things. A layout that looks clever on paper can turn into quiet resentment fast. Dishes heard clattering through a shared wall, guests cutting through someone else's yard to reach the driveway, an electric bill nobody can agree on splitting. So the real question was never simply, can two families live in a $150,000 plus barndominium? It's, how do you build it so both households feel like they have a home of their own, not a shared address they're stuck negotiating? That question opens up decisions that can change the budget, the privacy, and how well this works 10 years from now. It starts with the choice that shapes everything downstream. One connected structure, two separate buildings, or something in between that borrows the strengths of both. I'm Mason. I study America's most interesting barndominium builds, the design choices behind them, and what actually makes a project worth its price tag. If layouts, real building decisions, and smarter ways to stretch a construction budget interest you, consider subscribing to Modern Luxury Homes USA. Stick with me through the final section, because one of the smartest moves in this design has nothing to do with adding square footage. It's about deciding on purpose what these two households actually need to share and what they should never have to. A two-family compound was never about fitting more people under one roof. It's about staying close without losing the parts of daily life that make a house feel like yours. Walking around at midnight without worrying who hears you, leaving dishes in the sink without an audience, closing a door and meaning it. That balance is harder to hit than it sounds. Too much separation, and the project creeps toward the cost of building two traditional houses anyway, defeating the purpose. Too little, and what was supposed to be two homes starts to feel like one oversized house split into rooms nobody fully controls. The best designs land somewhere in the middle. Each household needs a real sense of arrival, private space, and enough control over their own routine to feel like an adult at home, not a guest in someone else's. Shared infrastructure, smart wall placement, and combined outdoor space can stretch a limited budget in ways two separate builds never could. Once that balance clicks, the floor plan starts revealing choices that aren't obvious from a simple sketch, and one of them alone can eliminate a surprising chunk of wasted space before the foundation is ever poured. 3 layout strategies come up again and again in two-family barndominium design, and each changes what daily life feels like once the walls go up. A side-by-side arrangement, split down a shared central wall into mirrored units, tends to feel most like a true duplex, clean to frame, efficient to build, simple to divide utilities across. A front and back configuration, with one unit set behind the other, usually buys more privacy but asks for more site work and two separate paths to reach each front door. Some families choose a connected but offset design instead, joining the units with a shared breezeway or mudroom rather than a solid wall, giving both households a literal buffer between their lives. Whichever direction is chosen, a few placements matter more than the rest. Separate entrances aren't a nice extra. They're what lets each family come and go without walking through someone else's living room. Bedrooms belong away from shared walls whenever possible, especially away from a neighboring kitchen, where noise travels most. Kitchens, historically the loudest room in any house, work best positioned back-to-back or on opposite ends of the structure. None of this is only about square footage. It's about building privacy and function into the exact same footprint at the exact same time before either family has moved a single box in. A well-planned floor plan only solves half the problem, though. The moment two households start sharing walls, something else becomes just as important, and getting it wrong can quietly undo the comfort of the entire property. Hearing footsteps, running water, or a raised voice through a shared wall creates a specific kind of stress, and it's harder to bring up when the person next door is your mother or your brother, instead of a stranger renting the unit. Sound separation is one of the most underestimated line items in multi-family construction. Staggered stud framing, resilient channel systems, and dense insulation between shared walls cut down on noise transfer without raising cost much. Private entrances do as much for the mind as the walls. Walking through a door that belongs to only one household changes how the space feels the second someone steps inside. Bedroom and bathroom placement carries real weight too. Putting bathrooms along a shared wall instead of bedrooms turns plumbing noise into a buffer instead of nightly disruption. Visual separation, a privacy fence, a strip of landscaping, an angled patio prevents the small discomfort of two families making eye contact through their own windows every time they step outside. People need to feel some control over their own environment, even when the people next door are family they love. A well-designed compound gives each household a small, private outdoor moment that belongs only to them. A patio the other unit can't see into, a porch angled toward open land instead of toward each other's windows. Privacy solves one of the biggest worries in this project. But another place where two-family construction either saves money or doubles the cost sits hidden behind the walls, where nobody thinks to look until it's too late. This is where a two-family project either saves real money or ends up costing close to what two separate houses would have. Some elements make sense to combine. One, continuous foundation and structural shell cut material costs and labor time compared to framing two separate buildings. A single water line run from the street before splitting into two systems can lower installation costs meaningfully. A shared driveway, shared land improvements, and bulk purchased roofing and siding all benefit from being built together instead of twice. Other pieces should almost always stay separate. Kitchens, since nobody wants to negotiate dinner schedules with another household. HVAC zones, so nobody pays to heat or cool space they don't live in. Electrical metering, so utility costs stay clearly divided instead of becoming a running source of tension. Bathrooms, entrances, and outdoor living areas belong to each family. Full stop. The goal was never to share everything possible. It's to be strategic about it, combining the systems that don't touch daily comfort while keeping full ownership of the ones that do. This is exactly where a $150,000 plus budget gets interesting, because the biggest savings usually come from cutting duplication, not cheaper materials. A $150,000 plus starting budget doesn't hand anyone a finished two-family compound with every box checked. What can buy is a well-sequenced build, done in the right order, with room to grow. Here's roughly what that order looks like on the ground. Site work comes first, clearing, grading, and compacting the pad so the foundation has something stable to sit on. The foundation and structural shell go up next, ideally as one continuous pour and one connected frame, since splitting that into two separate jobs is where costs balloon fastest. Utility rough-in follows, with water, sewer, an electrical run as shared trunk lines before splitting into two independently metered systems. Only after the shell is weathertight does finish-out begin, and this is the stage families often choose to split, completing one unit fully while leaving the second framed and dried in until the budget allows for the rest. On cost, a compact single-unit finish to a practical standard often lands somewhere in the low six figures before land and site work are added, with a second unit typically costing less than the first since it shares structure, foundation, and utility lines already paid for once. That's a rough shape, not a promise. Worth being straightforward here. Costs shift significantly based on location, land, labor rates, how far utilities have to travel, permitting, local codes, finishes, and square footage. A $150,000 plus figure is a starting point for planning, not a guarantee of finished structure. The budget sets the shape of the project, but there's one category where cutting too aggressively to protect that number can end up costing far more later, and it's one of the easiest traps to fall into. Building smart and building cheap can look identical on move-in day. The difference shows up years later, usually as a five-figure repair bill nobody budgeted for. Structural engineering and proper foundation work should never get treated as a place to save, especially on a two-family structure carrying more load and complicated framing than a single house. Site preparation, grading, drainage, and soil compaction decide whether that foundation holds for decades or cracks within a few years. Weatherproofing, real insulation, and a properly sized HVAC system affect comfort and bills for as long as the building stands, not just the first winter. Electrical and plumbing systems are painful to fix once walls are closed, especially in a shared wall structure where correcting one side means tearing into the other family's finished space. Sound control deserves the same respect as anything structural, particularly in a compound where two households are separated by a single wall instead of an entire street. None of this is about spending more than necessary. It's about not paying for the same mistake twice, once during construction and again years later fixing what should have been done right the first time. The outdoor space is often where a two-family compound either turns into a real gathering point or a quiet source of avoidance. And the difference usually comes down to whether togetherness feels chosen or forced. A central courtyard between the two units creates a natural meeting place without anyone having to schedule it. A shared fire pit, a covered pavilion, or a modest garden gives both households a reason to spend time together on their own terms, not out of obligation. Shared parking and a workshop or storage building cut costs while still respecting each family's routine. A children's play area pays off fast if grandchildren, nieces, or nephews are part of the picture. At the same time, each unit needs its own private patio, a space that belongs to one household alone, where nobody has to explain why they're sitting outside with coffee at 6 in the morning without company. Done right, the property creates chances for connection without demanding it. Nobody has to knock on a shared door to feel close to family. The land builds a closeness, while private spaces protect everyone's right to be left alone when they want to be. Once the outdoor space balances connection with privacy, the compound stops feeling like a cost-saving compromise and starts feeling like a property built on purpose for two different lives. Families change. The arrangement that works today can turn into a real problem if the property itself can't change with it. Aging parents may eventually need single-level access, wider doorways, or a walk-in shower instead of a tub, and retrofitting that later costs far more than building it in from the start. Adult children may move on and want to rent their unit out where local rules allow, turning an expense into income instead. Resale matters too. A well-designed two-family property tends to appeal to a wider range of buyers than a heavily customized single-family home, especially as multi-generational living keeps growing nationwide. Separate metering, independent HVAC zones, and accessible design aren't just conveniences for now. They're what keeps the property useful even after the people living in it, or what they need from it, eventually change. One last question every two-family compound has to answer, though. What happens if the people living there eventually want completely different things from the same piece of land? The most future-proof compounds carry a quiet adaptability built in from day one, long before anyone needs to use it. Lock-off spaces, rooms sealed off and accessed independently. Let a unit function as one open home or two fully separate living areas depending on what the moment calls for. Separate entrances prove their worth again, letting any room turn into a private guest suite, a rental, or a home office without disturbing the rest of the property. Flexible rooms with no fixed purpose can become a nursery, a workspace, or a caregiver's quarters as life shifts around them. Accessibility features built in early, wider hallways, zero-step entries, cost far less during construction than to retrofit later. And if circumstances call for it, a well-planned compound can be reconfigured, expanded, or even divided for sale because the structural bones were built with more than one future in mind. That's the long-term payoff of planning ahead. A property that keeps working no matter how the people in it change over the years. Bringing this together, the smartest way to approach a $150,000 plus two-family compound comes down to sequence. Spending in the right order, not simply spending the least amount possible. Early money belongs in planning, structural integrity, real site preparation, actual privacy measures, efficient plumbing and electrical, quality insulation and HVAC, and floor plans that hold up every day, not just on the walkthrough. These are decisions that are difficult, expensive, or sometimes impossible to undo later. Everything else can wait. Premium countertops, decorative finishes, high-end fixtures, elaborate landscaping, custom cabinetry, and upscale exterior details can be added in phases once the budget allows, without touching the integrity of the home. The smartest two-family compound was never the one squeezing two houses into the smallest number possible. It's the one that knows exactly where two households need to be left alone and where sharing actually pays off. If this changes how you're thinking about what a two-family Barndominium budget can accomplish, hit the like button. It helps this kind of grounded home design information reach more people trying to make smarter decisions before they break ground. One question before you head to the comments. Would you push for two fully separate living spaces or build a shared compound with a few carefully chosen areas both households enjoy together? With a $150,000 plus starting budget, what's the one feature you protect before spending a dollar anywhere else? Another piece of this conversation matters just as much. How to make a Barndominium feel far more expensive than it cost, without wasting money on upgrades that barely register in daily life. That opens up a completely different way of thinking about affordable luxury. A two-family Barndominium compound was never really a way to fit more people under one roof. Done with intention, it becomes something more valuable. A property where families stay close without losing the privacy and control that make a house feel like home. No arguments over water bills. No straining to hear through a wall. The real advantage isn't found in building everything together or keeping everything apart. It's found in knowing which parts of the property should work as one and which parts need to stand on their own. That's what makes a $150,000 plus budget worth paying attention to. The goal was never to build the cheapest compound possible. It's to make every decision earn its place. A smarter home doesn't start with a bigger budget. It starts with better decisions. I'm Mason, and thanks for spending part of your day with me. I hope this gave you a clearer picture of how thoughtful planning can turn a challenging building goal into something practical and achievable. Until next time, keep building smarter, keep thinking creatively, and I'll see you in the next video.